Hi, boys and girls. For our book today, we're going to read Baseball's Best. And this week, we're learning about the Olympics. So we're going to learn about all different types of Olympic sports we can do. So we're going to first read Baseball's Best, okay? No one knows who invented baseball. People have been playing games with balls, bats, and bases for hundreds of years. In 1845, a man named Alexander Cartwright formed a baseball club. He made up some rules for his club to follow. Many of Cartwright's baseball rules are still in use today. He said 3 strikes should be an out, and each team should get 3 outs when it batted. Cartwright also said that the bases should be placed 90 feet apart in a diamond shape. The first game played under the new rules was held in Hoboken, New Jersey in April 1845. Cartwright was the umpire, and he wore a high silk hat. No one could argue with the umpire. Cartwright would make them pay a fine of 6 cents if they did. Denton Truyoung was one of the first great pitchers in baseball. One day in 1890, Denton was practicing by throwing a ball against a wooden fence. He threw the ball so hard that many of the boards cracked and splintered. Later, somebody said the fence looked as if a cyclone had hit it. From that day on, the pitcher was known as Cy Young. Cy won 511 games in his career, the most ever. Every year, an award is given to baseball's best pitcher. It is called the Cy Young Award. Walter Johnson, another great pitcher of the early 1900s, threw the ball harder and faster than Cy Young. People called him the Big Train because his fastball roared like a speeding locomotive. Perhaps the best hitter of all time was Ty Cobb. He played from 1905 to 1928, mostly for the Detroit Tigers. No one played harder than Ty. He hated to lose. He had the highest batting average in the American League for 9 years in a row. Only one player in baseball history got more hits than Ty Cobb, and only one player stole more bases. Babe Ruth of the New York Yankees is the only player who was both a star pitcher and a great hitter. At first, Babe was the best pitcher in the American League. As a pitcher, Babe couldn't get into every game, so he had fewer chances to bat. But he hit so many home runs that his manager decided he should play every day. The manager then decided he should play outfield so he could bat more. Babe hit 60 home runs in one season and 714 home runs in his career. His most famous homer was in the 1932 World Series. After Babe had 2 strikes, he pointed his finger at something. Was he pointing at the pitcher as if to say, "I still have 1 strike to go"? Was he pointing at the center field stands? No one knows for sure, but Babe hit the next pitch into the stands in the same direction he had been pointing. People believed Babe Ruth could do anything, even say when and where he was going to hit a home run. Lou Gehrig played along with Babe for the Yankees. For almost 14 years, Lou never missed a game. He played even when he was sick or hurt. He played in 2,130 games in a row and was one of the best batters of all time. Lou and Babe helped make the Yankee champions. Since the 1920s, the New York Yankees have won more championships and have had more great players than any other baseball team. Joe DiMaggio became the star of the Yankees after Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig retired. One year, Joe got a hit in 56 straight games. That's a record that may never be broken. Joe was also a great outfielder. He was called the Yankee Clipper, like the famous ship, because of the way he sailed across the field to catch the ball. In Joe's last year on the team, 1951, Mickey Mantle joined the Yankees. Mickey's father had taught him how to bat both right-handed and left-handed when Mickey was only 5 years old. Mickey grew up to be very strong and fast. He hit more than 500 home runs, including one record breaker that traveled 565 feet. Reggie Jackson was another great Yankee home run hitter. In the last game of the 1977 World Series against the Dodgers, Reggie hit 3 home runs. Only Babe Ruth had ever done that before. Each time, Reggie hit the first pitch that was thrown to him, and each home run went further than the one before it. Reggie's home runs helped the Yankees win the World Series. Not all of the great hitters in baseball were Yankees. 2 of the very best were Ted Williams of the Boston Red Sox and Stan Musial of the St. Louis Cardinals. In 1941, Ted Williams had a batting average of .400 going into the last day of the season. Every batter dreams of hitting .400 or better, but very few ever have. Ted was asked if he wanted to sit out the last 2 games. If he played, maybe he wouldn't get a hit and his average would fall under .400. Ted was willing to take the chance. He told his manager, "I want to play." He got 6 more hits and ended the year with a .406 average. No one has batted over .400 since Ted Williams. At first, Stan Musial wanted to be a pitcher. Then he hurt his shoulder diving to catch a ball. He was going to quit baseball, but his manager said, "Don't quit. After all, you can still hit." The manager was right. Stan the Man batted over .300 for 16 straight years. In 1948, he led the National League in singles, doubles, and triples, and had the highest batting average too. He also hit 39 home runs, 1 less than the league leader who had hit 40. Before 1947, black players were not allowed to play Major League Baseball. Then Jackie Robinson joined the Brooklyn Dodgers. Some players and fans called Jackie names and tried to pick fights with him, just because of the color of his skin. Jackie proved he was a great player and a great man. Instead of fighting, he ran faster and hit better. He was named Rookie of the Year in his first season in the National League in 1947. In 1949, he was voted the best player in the league. Soon, many other great black players joined the major leagues. Jackie Robinson had led the way. Willie Mays could do everything well. He was so strong that he hit 660 home runs in his career. He was so fast that he led the National League in triples 3 times and stolen bases 4 times. Willie was also a great fielder. Sometimes a batter would hit the ball far over Willie's head in center field. Willie would turn around, race back, and make a spectacular catch over his shoulder. Then he would turn again and make a perfect 400-foot throw to keep any runners from moving ahead on the bases. Many people thought that no one would ever hit more home runs than Babe Ruth. Then in 1974, Hank Aaron of the Atlanta Braves broke Babe Ruth's record when he belted his 715th homer. He finished his career with 755 home runs. Hank also holds the career record for most runs batted in. Do you think anyone will ever break Hank Aaron's records? Before 1958, all major league teams played in the eastern and midwestern United States. People in the western part of the country wanted to see Major League Baseball too. They finally got their wish in 1958 when the Brooklyn Dodgers moved to Los Angeles and New York Giants moved to San Francisco. Later, the Kansas City Athletics moved to Oakland and became known as the A's. Many great players were on these western teams. The Dodgers had a star pitcher, Sandy Koufax, who struck out lots of batters with his speeding fastball and tricky curve. Very few batters got hits when Sandy was pitching against them. Another great Dodgers pitcher, John Drysdale, set a record in 1968. He pitched 6 straight games in which the other team did not score a single run. Steve Garvey, who starred at first base for the Dodgers in the 1970s, didn't miss a game for almost 8 years. That's a National League record. The Giants had a great pitcher named Juan Marichal. He used to lean way back and raise his leg above his head before he threw the ball toward the home plate. The Giants also had 2 powerful hitters, Willie Mays and Willie McGovey. Oakland won the World Series 3 years in a row in the 1970s. Their star was Reggie Jackson, who later played for the Yankees. Remember Ty Cobb? No one ever hit as well or played as hard as he did. Then Pete Rose at the Cincinnati Reds came along. Pete could hit the ball to every part of the field just like Ty Cobb. Pete always hustled like Ty too. When there was a close play, Pete would dive through the air head first toward the base. He played so hard and was so determined to win that his teammates nicknamed him Mr. Hustle. One year, Pete got a hit in 44 games in a row, a National League record. Pete also broke Ty Cobb's record for most hits ever, getting more than 4,200 of them. Strike 3, you're out. That's what a lot of batters heard when Nolan Ryan, Steve Carlton, and Tom Seaver pitched in the 1970s and 1980s. All 3 of these players performed an amazing pitching feat. They each struck out 19 batters in a single game. Nolan Ryan of the Houston Astros is the greatest strikeout pitcher of all time. Some people say he's the fastest pitcher ever, too. Someone once used a radar device to tell how fast Nolan's fastball traveled. The pitch went more than 100 miles per hour. Nolan has also pitched 5 no-hit games, more than any other pitcher in baseball history. Don Mattingly of the New York Yankees has been voted the best player in baseball by coaches and his fellow players. He's won awards for his hitting and his fine fielding at first base. Ozzie Smith of the St. Louis Cardinals is also considered a good candidate for the Hall of Fame. Fans call Ozzie the Wizard of Oz because of the amazing plays he makes at shortstop. Los Angeles Dodgers pitching ace Fernando Venezuela and St. Louis Cardinals outfielder Pedro Guerrero might also be future Hall of Famers. These players are some of baseball's best. Great job listening to the story, boys and girls. You did so great. We're going to do a fun reading activity next. I'll see you then. Bye.